2, and 1. Hey, welcome to the Back and Forth. I'm your co-host, Kevin, and this is
Shanelle. Hello, everybody.
You heard her. Her name is Shanelle, everybody, in case you didn't get that. She's Shanelle. She said everybody knows her. So we've got some more good topics for you today. One of those topics is this. What would you do if somebody didn't like your hair and they decided to cut it off? I'm going to leave that right there. Let's go. All right, let's go. All right, Shanelle. So we've got some more good topics this week. Man, it's been a great week again. All I'm saying is I'm not going to start off myself. I'm going to start off with you. How's your week been so far?
I had an amazing week. We had graduations this week. We had parents trying to figure out graduation. We had, all kind of stuff. But this is an amazing time of the year for the kiddos. And so I'm excited about our show today because, I love the kids. So,
okay.
One of the things I think, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I love the kids. Okay, I'm sorry.
I do love the kids. But you know what, Kev? We got a great question that came in this week. And I just want to see what you think about it. So this person said, every time I have a conversation with my ex, we always seem to end up dredging old issues from our past. We've been divorced for 8 years and this is getting old. What do you think about that?
First of all, this is the third episode. It's the third episode in a row. I need to contact the YouTube union or something like that because it's obvious I am not even here. I start the show off by introducing my co-host and give her all kind of props, give her bells and whistles and all kinds of things. Find out. Ask her how her week is going. She gives me
I don't even want to talk about it.
Good spiel of her week. Get spiel of her week. She loves the kids, graduation, everything, which shows you I'm actually listening. And then she jumped right into the show and didn't even ask me, hey, Kev, how's your week going? How was your week? How's your week been? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and jump out and answer that question before you even get a chance to ask.
No,
I know you
have
intentions on asking.
Can we do a reset?
No, I'm going to sound it like Shanelle. So, Kev, how's your week going so far? Well, Shanelle, glad you asked. My week has been outstanding. Hey, I am blessed and I'm happy to be here doing this again for all those parents, those co-parents, those step-parents, those blended parents, the single parents, the parents of the parents, grandparents, grand-co-parents, other parents. But we are here for you and I'm happy to be here. So with that being said, I'm going to jump in because I know we got some great questions out there. And I know Shanelle's probably sitting on a great question that she wanted to ask. So Shanelle, what do you have for us today? Well, you got anything in the kitty? Go ahead.
I want to redo.
This is live. So we can't redo live while we're recording. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to redo.
You can stick your hand up in class all you want, but ain't nobody, there's only one person in the classroom. So if I don't acknowledge you, that means you don't even exist, which you've been doing in the last three weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and turn over you. Oh, Shanelle, where do we want to go at first?
Well, you know what, Kevin, you mentioned that you had a great week and I'm happy that you had a good week. I'm so excited that you had a great week. So, and then he rolls his eyes at me. Y'all see this?
I'm not saying anything.
I'm trying to make it right.
I just want to make sure I let the audience know that we do get along. Sometimes, I was just talking to her about this before the show started. You're not going to please everybody all the time. So, as parents, as co-parents out there, we know that sometimes our kids are not going to like us, by the decisions that we make. All we can do is hope that, you know, they extended some grace and we can keep going from there. And so with that being said, Shanelle, is there anything that you like to ask? Any questions you'd like to ask before we proceed?
Yes. Can I have a reset?
Oh, you want to add your reset? I can't start over because the audience is wondering what's going on right now. Right now, we are probably like 6 minutes in, and we haven't even gotten to the sweet stuff yet. So I think
that this has a whole lot to do. This whole scenario that we got going on right here has a whole lot to do with this question, because this person said or asked or brought up this topic. Every time I have a conversation with my ex, we always seem to end up dredging up old issues from our past. Sounds like they want to reset. But we've been divorced for 8 years and this is getting old. So from the looks of this question, the ex bringing up old issues from the past, perhaps maybe to get some type of closure. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people are under the false impression that they need the other person to bring closure to their life. And that's not true at all. It only takes one person to close the door. And this person for 8 years has been trying to seek closure from this relationship. And it appears that the other one has moved on. The person that wrote to us has already moved on. Mm-hmm. And so I think we maybe need to talk about boundaries and communication with the ex, especially when you have children together. What do you think?
Well, maybe he's already told her, and maybe she just doesn't. Was it a male or female? I'm sorry. What was it? They just said ex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the one ex who is being pursued by the other ex, or they're dredging up old issues. Maybe in their mind, they've been clear about what the situation is, but the other parent, just like you said, maybe they don't have closure and they want closure. And, you know, you said it before, you know, it only takes one person to close the door. However, if you slam the door in my face and I'm right there looking in the glass and you got a glass door, I can still see inside. Now, I don't know who. Sure. That's a Kevin quote right there. I'm going to copyright that and put a copyright on that. So you close the door in my face. I wasn't ready for this thing to be over, or there's some stuff that I need to work out. I need to talk to you about it. And you don't want to talk. Well, guess what? It's 8 years later and I'm still talking to you about them. Because it's obvious I've got a problem, or I got some issues that I need to be resolved so I can move on. And, you know, we don't hope for that to happen. You hope that after you went through the court proceedings or you just are not together anymore, period, that the other person understands that we've moved on. But it gets back to the communication point. If you're not communicating, if I'm talking and I'm telling you how I feel and I'm telling you my wants, my needs, my demands, and I'm thinking I'm being clear, that's only one-sided communication. I've always been taught that if you are tasked with giving out instructions, your instructions are only, whatever it is that you're doing is only complete when the other person receives it and understands it. So looking at this situation right here, if that person is still 8 years later, still dredging up old issues, it's obvious there's something missing in the communication. That's just me off the top of my head, just listening to that. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, the only reason why these people apparently are still talking, I'm going to assume, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume this, is because they have a child together. Yes. Because if they don't have a child together, then my question would be, well, why do you keep talking to your ex, right? Yes. So, you know, I've had clients where it was a relationship, and of course, the child was produced from the relationship, and then there was a breakup somehow, but the other person wasn't ready to let go, and they wanted to have sessions, you know, co-parent sessions, but really wasn't a co-parent session. It was more of a relationship session because they wanted additional closure. They wanted to know why don't you act like you love me anymore? We were in love before, we had a child together. Now you're acting like I never existed. Why is that? And sometimes the answer that the person is giving them is not the answer that they're looking for. So they want to bring a whole session together to perhaps make the other person feel guilty for severing the relationship when they have a child together. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes it's a little manipulative in the reason why people continue to dredge up these old things or make you feel guilty because you made a decision to not be with them anymore. And they want you to feel bad about it because they haven't moved on and they don't want you to move on without them.
So that sounds like a case of petty white. I didn't say Betty White. I said petty white. So if you're dealing with a person who's petty, and no matter how much closure you have, a petty person is going to do petty things.
Right.
And so it could be 8 years later and somebody's still bringing up old issues. It's almost the same as, I'm retired military, been retired since 2013. But sometimes when we talk to like other military members who you might serve with a long time ago, when you talk to them, the conversation seems to go back to the past about things you did back in 1990, back in 1989. Man, remember when we were at this place right here? And it's like, you've moved on from that part of your life. Not that you've forgotten about it, but you moved on. You're a different person and you might not even remember it. So imagine the person dredging up old issues and you've moved on and you might not even remember them the way that person remembers them. And so now that may just stack on and add on to that person's frustration. Well, you don't remember you did this? Honestly, I don't. I probably, prayed and asked for forgiveness and moved on from that situation. Right. And by somebody keep bringing it up, it's almost like that's that salt on the wound. It's like you've moved on and you still having to relive that every time you see somebody. Would you really want to talk to a person if they keep bringing up old issues? Right. That's not going to work for a co-parenting relationship because you're there for the children, not you and that other parent. That is gone, Right. But some people still want to bring up old past and thinking that either they're trying to rekindle something or they may be stuck in the past and can't get over that thing. And that's a sad place to be. I mean, that's just
a lot of times it's.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but a lot of times it's also to bring that person back down. Even though that person may have done you wrong. Okay, they may have done you wrong, but how long do you want them to have to pay for what they did to you? The greatest revenge is for you to move on and do better.
That's right. Say that again.
And if it's about the revenge, move on and do better. Don't bring this person down as a way to be vengeful. Do better yourself. Yeah. Do better yourself. Learn from whatever happened. Close that door by yourself and move on and be better and do better.
Oh, look at you. You quoting waxing poetic. I was going to say something else. I probably came out with the wrong word again. And I wasn't going to say sensuous, but that would have been the wrong word again this week.
Yes. Well, you was all poetic last week, so
but we're not going to go down that road. So I'll just stick with waxing poetic today. Shanelle is, and she's doing a great job of it. I'm going to sit back and let her fly this plane today because it seems like she's doing a great job. But
no, I can't do it without you. You the pilot. I'm just the co-pilot. I'm just
here as support. Not doing that. You're not going to have people shutting us down, canceling us. Hey, why he got to be the pilot? Nah, I didn't say that. She did.
I'm okay with that.
She's a pilot.
I'm okay with that.
So let me ask you a question then, because we talked about people dredging up old issues, and not being able to let things go. So what happens? How do I want to say this? If you as the parent, like say for this situation right here, what if one of those people are married and they've moved, they've moved on and they're married now. And how do you think that spouse would feel if every time their husband, wife goes over there or has to have any kind of interaction with that parent, that the other parent's bringing up old issues? How do you think that part settles in that? I mean, is sitting in that house with the married couple, and every time their spouse goes over to the other person's house or has a conversation when they're bringing up old issues, how do you think that? What kind of dynamic do you think that brings to the relationship?
It's funny. I actually had this happen. I had this happen with two co-parents I was consulting with, and we were trying to get through. I had them on a 10-week program, and we were trying to really work through some issues because it was to the point where the father was not seeing his child at all. Wow. It had become a legal issue, and some other legalities were involved, and so we had to go through this program and change some things around. And one of the things that I did was, because the dredging up old issue was a constant thing, that I always had to refocus the session back to the present. Mm-hmm. It was like the mom was living from 13 years ago. Okay. And so I had to continue to refocus. And so kind of toward the last part of the session, I brought the wife into the session. So they all were there in the session. Yeah. And you can tell that the mom, the biological mom, was a little uncomfortable, because some of the suggestions I was making was to help bring down the stronghold of you needing this closure from your past relationship from 13, 14 years ago, to really actually visualizing that he has a whole family.
Yes.
And I needed her to get that visual, because in our private sessions, I needed to bring down this stronghold. As much as I said it over and over and over, Kevin, she wasn't getting it until she can actually see it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And when she actually saw it, we talked about the impact that her holding on to 13, 14 years ago worth of stuff from 14 years ago was impacting the dynamic of when he went to go see his father. Because as much as the wife was secure with her relationship, in her mind, this kid was there to get pieces of information to carry back to the mom. Mm. Ain't that crazy?
Oof. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, that is a tainted relationship right there. And it's amazing. It's amazing what one little thing can do to a relationship. Had a pastor one time said that if I told you I had a pinhead, like a little stick pin, if I had a stick pinhead full of poop, and I put it in the brownie mix and I stirred it up in there, so you got a whole big bowl of brownie mix. It's that little tiny little pinhead full of just poop on it, and you put it in and you stir it up. Would you want that brownie? That any of those brownies in that mix? Odds are probably not. So that strained relationship, that one thing that could cause somebody to think a certain way because they think the child is spying, could taint a relationship. And it could be done intentionally, or it could be done unintentionally. It could just be innocent. Well, just how's y'all do? What are y'all doing over there? How's everything going over there? The other people at your dad's or your mom's house. How's everything going over there? That's not to say that's none of your business unless there's some kind of abuse or some kind of something legal going on. But that time with that child is spending with the other parent is their time. And same token, that parent who felt that maybe the child was going back and spying, that's tainting that relationship. And so once that's in your mind, unless you have a conversation to get that out of there, that's going to stay there. And so you may feel some kind of way about the child, and the child, now you could be 15 years later, the child is grown, and now you felt this kind of way all those years, and you held that stuff inside without saying anything, and you were never able to release that. And, we shouldn't be putting ourselves in that position to where we are holding on to things that are not healthy for us. Sometimes it's easy just asking a simple question. So what do you think about this? So is this true? Can you help me with this? And it will resolve a lot of the issues that we're holding on to, so we can release that thing, so we can be better people and better parents.
Absolutely. And, it's one of those things. Here's the deal. Whether you have children with this person or not, in relationships in general, once you decide that this relationship is no longer serving you, I think it's fair for both parties to be able to make decisions to move on from the relationship. Because if that's not understood at a level of maturity, then we create this toxic type of expectation that everybody owes us an explanation for why they feel like they need to, for why they're moving on. Yeah. And perhaps maybe you feel like they do, but if they don't let that stop your life.
You
You
know,
know,
that,
go talk to somebody. Get you a coach. Get you a therapist. Get you somebody that doesn't that can help you transfer from one place to another, and so that you can experience that movement in your life.
yeah, because that could taint a relationship. And you know what could also taint a relationship? If you don't hit that like, subscribe, and notification button that we're gonna put out here, because we want to know how y'all feel about the content we're putting out there. So like, subscribe, and hit that notification thing down there, and make sure y'all
Yes.
stay up to speed with what we're doing. We're gonna be dropping these things hopefully every Wednesday. We'll be putting new content out there. And so for you all to be able to come feed, be able to get information from us, we're trying to feed this information into you all to make you all better parents, better communicators, better people all around. So take advantage of what we're putting out there. But but negates everything I just said. And and you know what also can ruin a relationship, Shanelle?
What's that, Kev?
Check out this right here. Here's a scenario that came in, and it said, what happens when the stepmom doesn't want to spend time with his kids, his biological kids? She only wants to spend time with her I guess her and her husband's biological kids, or her biological kids. How do you think that affects a relationship in a married household?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one right there. Let me tell you something. Kev, you've been in this situation. You had a blended family that, turned out well, but shed some light on that. Where are you coming from with this? Because I got some tea to spill.
Well, we had 6 kids all together in the house. And so my 2 and my wife's 4. And we were blessed and fortunate they all got along. And so there was never really a situation in my household where, we were doing for one set of kids and weren't doing for the other. However, I know my son probably felt some kind of way because he was the only boy in the house with 5 girls. And
wow.
Yeah, so he took it a little bit different than everybody else because, he probably felt isolated. He was by himself because he's the only boy in the house. And so, we try to treat him a little different because he is the only boy in the house. So now what would happen if, for example, I only tailored my actions to my biological kids and let my wife handle her biological kids? That would have shook up the dynamic in our house. And I know it would have, because the kids already have it hard enough taking a blended family, and trying to make everything work. So you take into that fact that one parent only wants to spend time with their child and not the other spouse's child. That is not a good combination for a good relationship, because while the parents may think that everything's working out, somebody's feeling some kind of way. I guarantee somebody's feeling some kind of way, and that house is not set on a firm foundation, because that thing is going to tear. Something's going to crumble, and Lord knows nobody wants to be around when that thing blows up. You got any experience with that situation, like from any of your clients or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So this came from one of my mentees, and this question was very relatable. I guess in this scenario, this was very relatable to several of my mentees, because a lot of times, I love to see blended families work well together. When I see that happen, I think it's such a beautiful thing, because they are already up against so many obstacles. And so when this question or this scenario kind of came about, I was thinking about, how I've consulted with parents regarding this, and especially when the child starts to articulate some feelings about it. When we have children, right, we have our children, and, it's not our intentions that, they're going to be in a split home. And, we never want that. We want, we kind of want them to be with, their father or their mother or whatever. but life don't always turn out that way.
Yep.
And so when life doesn't turn out that way, and we do find ourselves with blending our families, the rule of thumb that I tell people all the time is you're a package deal. They have to love, if you fall in love with someone and they fall in love with you, they've got to fall in love with your children.
Yes.
And you've got to see that before you commit your life to them. Mm-hmm. If you don't see it, or you have a hint or some red flags, premarital counseling is important, but pre-family counseling is important. See what those family dynamics look like. Flesh out those issues, because sometimes people aren't really ready to fall in love with your kids yet, or they haven't fallen in love with their kids. Perhaps they have spent a whole lot of time with you and maybe not a lot of time around your children. Mm-hmm. So that you need to do, maybe have family outings, family dates, family days, family things that they can cultivate a relationship with them, and you can observe what that looks like.
Yeah. I mean,
that's really my thing about it.
When we get married, what do they say? Through rich and poor, through sickness and in health, till death do us part. Now, there's a caveat that's on that. You just probably never even saw it. It's in the real fine print. It's reading in between the lines. It says, through rich and poor, because your kids either took all your money and you broke now because they're spending money and they eat you out of the house and the home. Yes. Through sickness and in health, because little ones walk around, they got snotty noses and then just germ factories, and we have to love them too.
Get to teenage years, they driving you crazy. So your mental health is just.
Yeah. And then till death do us part. I hope I'm long gone before my kids go, because that's not something a parent wants to do. And so that's why I say you got to read between the lines, because that in between the lines is stuff about the children. Because when you get married, unless you're just a new couple and you're married, you don't have any children, and so now you're just a married couple. But for those of us who have children from previous relationships, in between the lines is the fine print. Because when you take on that partner, you also inherit the children. You inherit all the mess that comes with the children. And I'm not just talking about the poopy diapers and the throw ups and the sickness. I'm talking about the mental stuff. The teenage years, the young kids just knocking stuff over and tearing stuff up, the lying, the crying, the tattletelling, all that comes in this, in between those, it's in the fine print. And we have to be able to accept that as parents, as co-parents, that like Shanelle said, it's a package deal. Yeah. And so we have to be willing to take on that package. Heaven forbid you get married and the child tells you they don't like you. You're not my mom. You're not my dad. And so what are we going to do about that? There's nothing we can do about that now. I'm not, and as a parent, I'm not trying to replace your mom or your dad. I'm married to your mother or your father, and we are a family, whether you like it or not. And so just like that, as the child may not like the parent, if the parent doesn't like the child, that's a different situation, because we are grown and we are supposed to know better. And we can't be walking around here being petty and taking it out on the child. It's not the child's fault.
Right. You hit the nail on the head, Kev, because sometimes we feel like the child owes us something. The child should be proving something to us. Absolutely not. Yeah. They're the ones that had to go through the trauma of their parents not getting along already.
Yes.
So they don't have to try to woo us. We should be wooing them, because we are the adults. We are the ones that made decisions that impacted their lives. One of the things I talk to co-parents about are, blended families, for the opposite parent or the bonus mom or the bonus dad, to schedule time, like schedule dates with that, with the child. Schedule, you guys do mixed dates. Like, for example, if there's a bonus mom, right, and there's children from her, with her husband, how about y'all just do an outing together? You and just you and the kids, because they need to feel like you are invested in them.
Yes.
They already have challenges just growing up. period. You got stuff going on at school. They got to battle through. And then to come home and feel as though they're just a room, that they're just renting space in a house because my dad is married to her, or she's married. My mom is married to this man, it's just unhealthy. It really is.
Yeah. And that's, we have to take all these things into account when we have kids. And you talk about, children going from one place to the other, renting room, feel like they're renting space out and stuff like that. Let me ask you a question. And this is getting back to a nice little hot topic, little hot scenario here. Whew. What would you do, Shanelle, if you went back to your mom's house, you spent time with your dad for the weekend, you had a good time with your dad, and he took you back to your mom, and when y'all out, you got your hair done because your brothers got their hair done, and so everybody got their hair done. We all look nice. And when I take you back to your mom's house, she cuts your hair. How would you feel, Shanelle, if your mom cut your hair after you just got it done with your dad? This is true. This is not makeup. This is a real situation that occurred.
I would be terrified. I would be so terrified. I probably wouldn't even want to speak to her for a long time. Because us, it's the same. It's like, boys going to get their hair cut. It's one of those things. First of all, the haircut with the dad, that's the whole bonding issue, and that's a whole different topic. But you can't take that away from them. But I see what you're saying. The dad, the boys got their haircuts. I want my princess to look cute too. I want her to feel involved, because he has all the kids, so he can't do for one set of the kids and not do for her. So he doing the best he could, He can't send her home looking raggedy and they looking fresh. You know what I'm saying? So I think the perspective of it, I think it was absolutely thoughtful and considerate of him to do what he did. But for the mom to do that, like, I would be absolutely terrified. But from an adult perspective and co-parenting, obviously myself, I think a phone call should have happened. I think a phone call should have happened so that it wouldn't be so traumatic for the little girl. Before it happened, listen, where do you normally get her hair done so I can take her to get her hair done?
I got something to add to that. So I too thought the same thing. I'm like, what's the harm here? He got his daughter's hair done. What's the problem? He got the sons got their hair cut. He got his daughter's hair done. He took them back to the mom. There's a twist. So you read further in the story and find out that the mom did not want her daughter being taken to get her braids put in by African people, the Africans, and they put those braids in so tight it pulls the hair out. And so she said that she told him this, and he knew how she felt about that because evidently it must have come up before, because why would you have to tell the dad this if there was no reason to think about getting her hair done? So she said that she does her daughter's hair and she knows what to do with her daughter's hair. Now, while we see from the outside, it was a great gesture, and this thing blew up on social media because everybody's calling the mom wrong for traumatizing the child because the child was sitting there bawling. And she did it outside on camera, on social media, cut the baby's hair out. So she traumatized the child. But we talk about the communication thing. One, why does she have to do it outside in front of everybody on social media and film it? Two, the conversation should have been had with the father. He should have been calling her also saying that, hey, I'm about to take her to get her hair done at this place here. And she could have said, nope, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm going to take those braids out. And she said the stuff was in so tight, she had no choice but to cut that stuff out. So there went the twist. That's why it's sort of hard not to judge a book by its cover. What I saw, I was on the same thing that she was wrong for doing it. Yes, she was wrong for making that child cry, traumatizing the child. But we all should have had conversation and communication, and then also not put it on social media.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I remember when this story first came out, and, of course I read through it, and I completely concur with what you're saying, that, that could have been handled differently, even just from the mom standpoint.
Yes.
I've seen orders where hair care was in the order. Mm-hmm. How it, even to the details, depending on how crazy the situation was between the two parents, I've seen it in the order where it was detailed, redlined all the way through, as far as hair care, haircuts, everything. Wow. So with this particular situation, I think that specifically, if she said to him, don't go to the Africans or whoever, he could have said, well, who do you go to? Who do you take her to? You see what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that braid, there's people I don't go to because it's too tight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I would definitely not take my daughter to a place like that. But I have several stylists that do several different things. I'm like the go-to girl when my friends want to, Shanelle, who does this? Who does that? So absolutely, she's a mom. She's going to know, she's going to have those type of answers. And to have that communication where it's open enough to where we're still going to do what's best for the kid. I don't see why the mom would have had a problem with giving him the information for his gesture to be completely innocent and the goodwill to be there, for him to want his daughter to look nice, just like the brothers were looking nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, we never know what's going on behind closed doors. And because those two might be a toxic relationship, and those two can't stand each other. So the communication may not be there. So they may be people who have to drop kids off at the police station and they swap kids out. And so we don't know all the dynamics behind that relationship. But from what I read, they don't get along. And so there's not going to be any communication there. And so she probably feels some way about him. He feels some kind of way about her. So who suffers for this? The children. And
that's the reason why I said he should have said, even though they don't get along, maybe perhaps he didn't know how far she was going to go with this. And she did this just to show. But like I said, at the end of the day, this issue is between them two. Why did you traumatize your daughter? Like, that was something I would never forget if I was that child.
Yeah. Well, the rest of the world's not going to forget it because it's on social, it's on the social and the medias. So it's on those internets out there. So everybody got this and it's still floating around, so it doesn't matter. This young lady's going to grow up one day and somebody say, you remember this was a picture of you a long time ago. Your mom cut your hair out. And now that's going to come up old issues. This child probably still traumatized. You talking about PTSD?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just bring this up and hurting your children, all for the sake of what? Getting back at the father?
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, what are we supposed to be doing this for? We're supposed to be doing this for our children. It's not about us. And that's what we get in our own way sometimes as parents. Yeah. And we forget about our children and we make this about our situation. And it should be about us. And so, we got to do better. We got to
do better. We got to do better, Kev. Listen, these things come up. And, I've even seen it to the point where the parents don't communicate unless it's through text, because they have to have a record for everything. Because it has been so toxic between the two. I understand
that. That's what I tell my clients. If it's at that point where you can't, anytime you talk to somebody, it's not a good situation. I always tell them, take 24 hours. If you responded in text, you responded by email, they send you something, sleep on it before you hit that send button. Because sometimes the first thing that comes to our mind might not be the best thing. It might not be the most constructive, might not be the most productive. So we don't want to do anything, for one, that's going to hurt our children. Two, and that may end up going to be shown in court.
Yes. Well, they got that text app now for co-parents, right?
Yeah, but everybody's not going to be using that text app. They're going to go outside the boundaries. They're going to go outside the boundaries and go get ugly and do something silly. And now they end up paying for it later on. So. Right.
But I'm saying, like, if they both got on that text app or they were court ordered to only communicate through the text app, I mean, it's so crazy. People, I mean, the courts are they're just bombarded with foolishness because people, they just get slicker and slicker and slicker. But yeah, texting through that app, you have professionals that are monitoring these texts, reading between these lines, these different codes. It's crazy. It really is crazy.
I can imagine. It's just a matter. We still have to, at the end of the day, we still have to do what's best for our children first, put their well-being ahead of our own. And some people just forget about that. They think that the relationship's over and this is about me now. And at the same time, the little child sitting there just like, mommy, daddy, what about me? And, so right. I'm just saying, they just forget about that, that's why I think that we are doing a service for the co-parenting, blended parenting, single parenting, grandparenting. I'm going to do this thing again. I can't remember all the different type of parenting.
Bonus parenting.
We got business-like relationship parenting, all these different type of parents. We're doing a great job for them to give them different perspective of how these situations can be handled. We take real life situations and we talk about these things. We give you the positive and the negative side of it. So we want to be able to give you a taste of everything that's going on out there, and from our mind, because we have experience in this area. We're not just talking from a book. We're talking from life. Right. We're talking from other people who experience these things. So that's what we're here for. I mean, Shanelle, I need you to do me a favor before we depart.
What's that, Kev?
Can you tell the people where they can find you and what you got going on?
Where you can find me, actually, you can just go to www.pricelessandbeyond.org. And you can find my links, my Instagram, you can find my Facebook groups, you can find my YouTube channel, you can find my podcast, you can find all the things I have going on, products. I have mentorship programs, I have courses, I have workshops, workbooks, ebooks. All of that is at pricelessandbeyond.org. You'll see that down in the comments. And what I have going on, Kev, I think this is the biggest thing I have going on, really trying to make sure that we get a message that's very, very clear out to the world about how we need to show up in our children's lives and how our children, based off of how we show up in their lives, how they're going to impact their world. All right. So what do you have going on, Kev?
Well, I appreciate you asking me. This is almost like I was here and you actually acknowledged my presence. Thank you for acknowledging me. I actually feel like I'm here and welcome. So you could find me on Instagram. You can find me. It'll be down here somewhere. You'll see my Kevin_L_Scott. That's where you see a lot of my posts out there on social media. I'm giving co-parents tips, rules. I'm doing different scenarios. Looking at different situations that's happening online, and I'm basically commenting, shooting videos about those things. And you also can see me on my website at teambyw.com, not team, teambyw.com, where you can see all the things I have to offer. And you can also go to my bio on Instagram and see what's in there too. I also got some things out there to help co-parents out. And before we leave, Shanelle, we need to make sure we tell the people that if you want to help out with a project, you want to be part of this show, send us comments, send us questions, different scenarios you've been through, and you might not realize it, but we are looking at those things and we may use them in the show. And so, if you do, it might be a little shout out to you out there, because we want this to be as interactive as possible for you. Because believe me, this is not about us. This is about you. And we're doing this for you as parents out there going through these situations, giving you different perspectives and different ways to handle these situations. All right, Shanelle, take us home.
Also, I just want to put this plug in too, Kev, but that, a professional that has some more insight that they would like to share, we would love to hear from you and see, how we can collaborate with you on the show as well. Because, as we continue to grow, with interaction with people, we want to make sure that we're giving them resources that they can get the help that they need individually, and, on a family level as well. So if you have if there's any professionals out there, anyone that has some experience in this area, in this field, or you would just like to share your story, you just got to be prepared, because Kev here, he'll come up with a question that just blow you all away. So, but we would love to have you, and, to really, really, hear your story and hear your testimony, and hear, so that other people can see that they're not alone in this. Like Kev said, we're going through this. I'm going through, my son is a preteen. I'm going through this. He has gone, going through this, has gone through it, and is still going through it with, older children. So, this is a journey that we're on. To be honest with you, I'm excited about the journey, because I know that I'm doing the best that I can to be the best co-parent that I possibly can, so that my child can feel like he has parents that love him unconditionally, and that, we're looking out for the best interest in him. So.
All right. You are waxing poetic today. I don't have anything else to say, Shanelle, except that I just want us to make sure that we let the people know that we are here for them, and we will be back next Wednesday, same time, same channel. I don't know.
Yes.
But
make sure you subscribe to the channel, though, so you don't miss out. Because you're gonna be missing out on some juicy tea.
Like, subscribe, notify, whatever that thing is. Click. Make sure you do that, and we will see you guys next week, same time. We out. It's gotta clean out. All right, y'all. All right.